Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to somewhat daily tarot and rune for Monday, the 18th of January, 2021. Well, I've tried this a couple of times, and it's frozen on me. Well, the second time it froze. The first time, like, I don't even know what I was talking about. It's just like I got off on a tangent. It's like, no, 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 no. Anyway, so I've already chosen the runes, so I'm just going to keep them because I think they're important. Today we have a 9 energy for the 18th. So we're talking humanitarianism and all of that, but at the same time, what else do we talk about? We talk about like a 9 life path, but it's not a 9 life path today. It's just the day. Um, you're talking about idealism and generosity and humanitarianism, but in tarot we're talking about endings, or completion. So I think that whether or not we see elements of that today, we'll just have to wait and see. But Birkenau is the rune for today. And Birkenau is sort of the Earth Mother rune. It's about healing and fertility and birth, bringing projects to fruition, things coming to fruition. So in a sense, there's that 9 element there, if you're looking at it in terms of endings. But to me, what really comes out of Birkenau is the idea of healing. If you look here, although it looks like a bee, what you have here is you can see Kenaz. I'll show you this, and it's 3 times. You'll see it here. Let me just draw it out, and I'll show you what I mean. I'll explode it for you. I haven't done that in a while, have I? So we have Isa, we have Laguz, and we have Kenaz 3 times. That comprises Birkenau. See that? You have Isa over here, alignment and source presence. You have Laguz, which is flow, the flow of spirit. And here you have the light of spirit turned inward twice, blessing the individual, because obviously we've got to get it together, right? And actually understand that we're spirit inhabiting this body. It was the whole idea of creating heaven on earth, remember? Remember that? Well, that's what that means. It means living here in these bodies as spirit and not as the personality or ego. See, and only in one place are we expressing it outwards, because mostly we need to transform ourselves, right? So that's the idea behind Birkenau. And then the geomancy rune for the day is Trustitia, or loss, sadness. It could be grief. It could be secretive. So there's a little bit of Albus energy in that. There's a little bit of a Scorpio energy in it. There's some Lilith energy to that. But the idea that we've lost relationships because of the division between us, the cultural, political, whatever you want to call what's going on and what caused the nonsense on the 6th at the Capitol, the insurrection. I guess they thought nothing would happen to them, but they're all going to go to jail, so I don't know what to say there. That was just dumb. You can have whatever beliefs you want. Work for change, but don't do that. Don't commit sedition. I mean, that's kind of stupid. But anyway, at least that's what it looks like to me. But we've lost so much, with respect to that alone. And then when you couple it with the loss of life, we're at 398,000 this morning. So by tonight, it's likely going to exceed 400,000. So by tomorrow morning, we're likely going to have heard that we've reached that milestone. And it's an unacceptable milestone, especially now that we know that they lied about having any vaccines in reserve. It was a lie. Oh yeah, we're sending them out. They knew they didn't have any when they said that. So we have a lot of anger, a lot of loss, a lot of grief, a lot of worry. And we need to now focus on shifting things to a place of healing and unity. Well, that's hard to do, isn't it? Especially with all the emotions surrounding what's going on. Again, whether it's the political, cultural situation, societal stuff, or whether it's coping with the fact that we've had an administration that's done nothing but lie and manipulate us. Now to the point where we don't have any vaccines, right? What about the people that need their second dose? What's going to happen there? Are they going to need to take the first one over? See, this is the problem here. And so now we're having to deal with all of that, right? And how we feel about it. And so it's very difficult when things are in such an uproar to remember that you're spirit and to draw the light of source presence and to then see things from that perspective, right? But realistically, isn't that what we have to do? You know, I can't remember if I've talked about this yet on this version of the video, but we're looking at the bind rune for the week, which again, I set the tone for, I set the intention for healing, and I just start drawing runes, and I stop when I think I should stop. So I don't choose them ever. Even in a spell, if I'm doing rune magic, I don't choose them. I set my intention, I do the same thing each time, right? So the runes decide what the bind rune's going to be. It simply responds to me. And what we have in this one is Gebo, we have Ingus, and we have Ansus. And we're basically talking about the undeveloped potential that we have for balanced energy exchange and healing with others, and reciprocity, and fellowship. So the undeveloped potential is there. We just need to all agree to grab onto it and manifest it, right? So that's the basis for today's reading. And then of course last week we hung on to Monday's reading and we compared it to Thursday's reading, which I'm going to go ahead and do again. So just keep all this in mind. I'll take notes here after I'm done and stick it, put it on a sticky note, put it on my monitor here so I don't lose it. If you saw my desk, you'd know why. Although I've been cleaning, I have. I've got some things, or I've got papers organized over there and a little paper organizer holder thing, and I don't know. I came in here because being out in the living room doing this was just getting too complicated. And I couldn't control the noise, and I couldn't, there was just too much background noise. And in here, there's not so much. And so, I commandeered our oldest son's room, and although we used to use it to grow plants in, we turned it into like a mini greenhouse. One time we had tomatoes growing in here under LED lighting, and there was also an HID light in here, and it was we just had it hanging down for just additional light, and the tomato plant literally grew around it. It looked like a beehive. I have a picture of it somewhere. I'll try to find it, but I don't know. It was a long time ago, and because my husband wanted to grow those. You know how Costco sells those Campari tomatoes? They're on the vine and they're in those clamshells. Well, he just loved them, so he'd get the seeds out of them, and so that's what we were growing. We were growing Campari tomatoes, and and we got them. They're yummy, but. It was hilarious, and it happened like just within a couple of days, that it just surrounded the whole thing. It was hilarious. But now it's my little still room where I have a bunch of most all of my tinctures are in here, and I do some formulating in here, and I do some spell work in here, so it just sort of keeps it all in one place this way. And then I have another work area out in the kitchen for more herb stuff that I do out there. Sometimes it's a little easier to formulate out on a bigger surface than it is just over here. So anyway, so I have a couple of places I work when I'm making things and all of that. So anyhow, I think that's enough shuffling. Now I'm going to go ahead and not take the 13th one each time. I'm just going to lay them down. Let me just cut the cards a little bit here. I was doing it that way, and I have always done it that way since I've been doing this, simply for randomness sake, but I just decided this morning in the shower, the heck with that. I'm done with it. It's a new day, so... Well, Wednesday it is anyway. So let's just go ahead. I'm just going to put down 3 cards, and I'm not, like I normally do in any other reading, I'm not doing one at a time, so here we go. All right. So we have, move this stuff out of the way. So we start with the King of Pentacles, a man in authority, surrounded by all of his wealth, all of his goodies. You can see the grapes. That's abundance. He's holding a coin, a large pentacle on his lap, gazing down at it with his back to the kingdom. This is a man in authority who's concerned about his own stuff and not about the the kingdom behind him. It's about his own wealth and his own authority. And it's all about him. It's all for him. All right. The next card we have is Strength. Card 8 of the Major Arcana. We see a woman, the goddess, in a white gown with flowers adorning it, holding the head of a lion in her hands. This is about taming the wild within and inner strength. You see the lemnis gate above her head, the figure 8. The cyclical nature of our personality and spirit or ego as opposed to spirit. We kind of go back and forth, right? It's seriously, it's not that you do good works and then, you're aligned with everything and everyone and with God. No, you are that, and you need to remember that here and align here, right? Get that in some kind of, balance. In a way, it's kind of about polarity in a sense. But basically, we're talking about trust, mastery, goddess power, unconditional love, courage, strength, which we're going to need with the 7 of Wands as we're defending here. We're defending ourselves against an attack. This is another form of courage, isn't it? He's standing his ground, isn't he? So it's confrontation, really. But are we confronting others, or are we confronting our own inner will? That'd be another way to look at this. The idea behind tarot is you can look at this about things that are happening to you, or you can think about this in terms of self-mastery. And the things in terms of the major arcana, it's the soul archetype cards where we're realistically, they're the main themes that we go through in life, that spirit needs to be informing. The small cards are just the average everyday stuff that we go through, but here, we need to have the courage to stand our ground and to bring things into some kind of a balance, letting things settle out. The 7 to me is about balance and settling things out, coming into an alignment, letting things settle so that you can then stand back and observe. Being empathic, one of the things empaths are told to do is to observe, not absorb. And how you do that is to take a step back out of the energy so that you're no longer reacting to it. You feel that energy tapping on your shoulder, you want to see what's going on, you start feeling uncomfortable, and you don't know why. Well, it's not necessarily you. It could be that you're picking up on someone else's lack of comfort, right? It's all energetic. That's all we are. We're just vibrational. We slow down enough for the bodies to form. That's all. That's all this is. It's still vibration. And so to think that you don't pick up on other people, you do. Even if you're not officially empathic, all of us are. It's our natural state. I've always said, and I've written a couple of books about this, one called Empath and one called When Vampires Attack. In my view, what being empathic is you're just more aware of your soul presence and the astral side of self, where that's how you know what's going on. The intuition comes in when you focus into form and you start seeing things tangibly. So to me, intuition is a subset of being empathic or being an empath. Now, others might disagree with me and say, oh, no, they're not. But that's how I see it. It's how I experience it because I'm both. And so when I get messages or images or whatever, or impressions, it all happens at once, right? I feel the emotion of it, I feel the vibration of it, and I feel the awareness of it all at once. So then I have to go back and go, okay, what did I just experience, and try to figure it out, right? But bottom line, that's what we're really, to me, that's the true polarity, is between ego and spirit, and the recognition that we are, in fact, that there really isn't any, that really what we are is spirit, and we just need to get with that program and understand that, right? And then it'll be a whole lot better in the long run, instead of what we're coping with right now. And then maybe Birkenau would take on a different idea, right? But what we have here is a king that's somewhat an authority figure that's stuck in his own needs. Now, if you want to draw that to the outgoing president, you might be able to do that. Or maybe you're dealing with somebody in your life that's an authority figure that seems more concerned with himself than everybody else that's going on. Maybe a parent in the household is having issues, a spouse is having issues with that, how they're expressing authority. Or maybe this is how you're experiencing authority in your life. Maybe you're expressing it in a way that is similar to the Four of Pentacles, where it's the miser, where the king is again with his back to the kingdom, and he's got his feet on two pentacles. He's holding one like this close to his chest, and then he's got one displayed on top of his crown. Well, to me, this is no different. This is just another expression of that, of where the focus, if you're the authority, the focus is on maybe holding on to things a little bit too tightly, holding on to possessions, not sharing them with other people. It may be your family or your friends or whatever. There's no generosity of spirit there. It's all about you. So maybe this is what this is about here today, that you're really talking about in terms of healing and moving into a more generous type of an experience with other people, even if it's just the generosity of your time. It doesn't have to be anything tangible. It's just, how generous are you with others in terms of your time, in terms of what you have to offer them? Especially if you're in some kind of a leadership position or an authority position over them. Maybe you have awareness of something that could help a neighbor right now, that you could maybe offer your skill to someone who can't come out of the house, because they're maybe they've got all these health conditions and they're trying to stay safe from the virus, but maybe they're older, and maybe you could go over and mow their lawn, for example. In a mask, obviously, but you could do that for them, right? So it's that kind of generosity of spirit when you have some ability to help, right? So, there's a lot of ways to look at the King of Pentacles. And when then you get to the 8 and you're looking at material strength, having material success, maybe. 8 is about that as well. But I look at the 8 more, I align it more with the rune Tiwaz, which is the 17th rune of the major, or of the Elder Futhark, rather. And so with the 17, that reduces to 8. So you're really looking at the spiritual warrior within, aren't you? Especially with Tiwaz. And you think the knight, on a quest with Tiwaz. And so rather than, the dodgy king here who's more concerned about himself, have the inner strength within to be concerned about other people, and to then use your strength and your authority or what you have to then help other people, even if it's simply your compassion. Again, some people have lost more than one person in their family due to COVID. And I've seen online where, people will say, oh, this is the 5th relative I've lost, and I've lost a couple of friends. So it's like people are being hit hard, and our relationships are part of our foundation. They're fundamental in our lives. And when you start losing people and you can't really go, there's no funerals, you can't go and hug their family, you can't tell them you love them, you can't do any of those things, you can't even be with them when they pass. It's a very different place we find ourselves now. And so the type of loss and fear and worry and disruption in our lives is profound. And so if you have the ability to do this, to extend yourself to other people, then you need to do so right now, perhaps. And develop the Birkenau within to then offer healing and compassion to others. To let the light of spirit inform you to then do the same to others, right? Come into balanced polarity, stand your ground. Especially if, and this just reminds me of the maskless people. I saw a video online yesterday about a grocery outlet, and I think it was in Oregon here. Not sure. Some people were suggesting it was in Salem, but I don't know. There was no way to know. And you had two women with no masks on come through the line, and they're going to buy what they're going to buy, and they're putting and they're saying no, and they're putting the sign out that the register's closed, but they're not listening. They're going to hand them money, set it down on the conveyor belt, and they're walking out, making a big deal about how I have a right to commerce. No, these are private businesses. You don't have a right to anything. If you can't live by the rules, I don't think you have a right to anything. And so that was embarrassing to watch that. We were in Walmart the other night. When was it? Was it Wednesday night, I think? Or no, Thursday night. We were in Walmart, and you can't get in there without someone stopping you and say you got to have a mask on, okay? And I've seen this happen numerous times. I just started going back to this place because the other places in town, it's too risky. Too many people running around with no masks on, or down below their nose, or just a face shield and no mask at all. And so we decided, okay, we're going to try Walmart. And I can't tell you, I mean, there's been one time we were in there where one guy had it hanging off his ear, and he was probably as old as I am or older. Idiot. And then we had, and then the other night when we were in there on Thursday, we're going to go get some powdered sugar. And I turned to my husband, I said, do we really need this? He says, no, it can wait. I says, well, look. And there was a man and a woman walking toward us, no masks, nothing. How they got in that store, I don't know. Maybe they had them and they took them off, I'm assuming. But again, it's can we please all just agree that when we're together, that we're going to protect one another, irrespective of what you think about it? You don't have the right to harm someone else. And yet that's the struggle. So what the 7 reminds me of, if we want to look at it that way, we can look at this another way here. We're going to stand our ground, but we have to do it carefully, don't we? Because you don't want to get into an argument with people that aren't wearing masks. It's not safe. It just isn't. It's not safe to do it. So we just turned our cart around, and we went around and we went and checked out. I got some stuff in the produce department because we had to go there next. I grabbed that stuff quickly and my lemons and my mushrooms, and off we went. And we got out of there. First time. And I mean, we haven't been shopping there but maybe a month or so now, maybe. Maybe it's been 6 weeks because we go every 2 weeks. So, I mean, obviously you're going to have some hiccups, and so we're still going to go there. But, they got a cart guy outside that doesn't wear a mask. So we have to make a wide berth around him because we don't want him near us. Because if you've got it, you breathe it, you shed it. I don't know what's so difficult to understand about this. So maybe we want to look at this from that perspective, to have the inner strength to do what's right. Even if you personally don't see the wisdom in it, the rest of us need you to do it. The healthcare workers need you to mask up. Have the inner strength, the integrity to do that. To tame the wild within and put a mask on your face when you go out. You want to take it off in your car, take it off in your car. But when you're in the store, leave your mask on appropriately above the nose, right? Do you stop breathing? Are you no longer breathing? If the breath comes out of your nose, so does the virus. This is just known. It's known. I don't, so maybe we stop turning our back to the needs of the people. We summon the strength within, We shouldn't have to stand our ground for that. It's too dangerous. But, maybe in terms of this, standing our ground is wearing the mask and demonstrating what needs to happen. I don't know. But obviously you can't get into it with anybody. You can't tell them what's wrong with you. Get a mask on. Because they aren't going to listen. And they might attack you. So we've seen that happen. So we obviously, you have to be very, very careful. And so in our case, we just simply chose to turn around, get the last stuff and leave. Pay for our stuff and go. But honestly, we're running out of stores. I don't know about the rest of you, but we're running out of stores to go to. So I don't know. I'm hoping that, we even added face shields to the masks. And that was before we started going to Walmart, just to be able to go in these other stores and feel safe. When you've got checkers who will stand there in those grocery store check stands with just wearing a face shield and no mask, if they're sick and they don't know it, they're shedding virus all over their check stand area. And if you walk through, how do you know that you're not going to breathe that in? It's like they think only so far, and then it stops. They don't consider the entire picture. So, again, I think that you could look at this as the strength of when to be passive and when to be active, when to consider and when to take action. That's another way to interpret this. So lots of ways to interpret this particular reading today, but if you're going to do it from the standpoint of the loss with Justitia and the healing and the sense of family with Birkenau, what are we doing to our family? Whether it's the division that's happened because of politics, because you have a segment of the country that's decided to go all conspiracy theory with the conspiracy theory president that we still have. He only uses that to get you to pay him money. That's all that's about. It's a funding thing. It's a donation thing. It's like, oh, he loses, but send me more money to fight this. What's he going to fight? He lost in every court. 60-some lawsuits they lost. It was a legal and normal election. There was no voter fraud. But you see, they got scared when the virus hit because they knew we weren't going to be able to go to polling places, that people are going to have to vote by mail. Oh, that terrified. So what'd they do? They stick this other guy in there who's going to do the monkey business with the mail. It didn't stop us, though, did it? And 81 million more people voted for Biden. It's like, well, it's like the 81 million of us don't exist. Since when? I know you got comfortable like that for quite a while now, but trust me, we're here. And we voted. Legally. We took ours the second we got them. We walked down to the house, we voted, we got in the car, we took them back to the box. One of those standalone boxes. Drop-off boxes. We took them there. We'd never done that before. We just always mail them because we have vote by mail here in Oregon. It's not a big deal. We've had it for over 20 years. Works fine. No voter fraud. You vote, you send it in, there you go. Easy peasy. So I think we proved that the country can do that effectively. So, again, but the division led to the insurrection at the Capitol on the 6th. The unwillingness to believe the truth in front of your face. And the line in the sand just keeps getting moved, doesn't it? Oh, well, we won't believe it if this doesn't happen. We'll know we were conned. Now they're saying, oh, well, the 20th shows up. Now we know we're conned. Come on, man. Wake up. You were conned the whole way. And it's too bad, because now we have what we have. We can't wear a mask when we need to. We question all of it. You have arrogant women going through the grocery outlet and doing what they're doing. I think the police were called. It's what it looked like. Or it was a security person. I couldn't tell. But they don't shut up. They don't listen. They just do whatever they want to do. So what kind of ground are they truly standing? One that can harm other people? I mean, is that really what that's about? I'm going to stand my ground to be able to harm other people. Makes no sense to me. I really think that probably simply enough, to have the strength within to know when to take a back seat and when to stand your ground would be the simplest way to look at this. But honestly, having the strength within to have enough compassion to know, for others to know, just exactly what you should be doing. And are you really battling with your own will here? Because I had a boss one time. She used the expression, "Is this the hill to die on?" and realistically, that's what this has become, hasn't it? In a very cruel way. So I don't know. This is an interesting reading. But I think if you bring it back to the Birkenau and the Tristitia runes, the family is in disarray, and the family needs healing in all senses, both physically, emotionally, spiritually. The healing needs to take place, and we need to have the strength within to stand up for that. And because if we don't, who is going to, if not us, right? So anyhow, interesting reading. I'm gonna write this up. Again, I'm gonna stick it over here on my monitor, so I have it for Thursday. Let's meet again then and do this all over again, where we'll maybe see how it relates to this one. It'll be good because it'll be after the inauguration on Wednesday. We'll meet again on Thursday. So actually, the timing of it's going to be different because I have a 10 o'clock appointment. So if I can get up super early and do this, which is going to be my plan, then I'll get it done before that, and then I'll go do that and come back. But so I think that's what I'm going to do. I'll just get up like at 6 and get the reading done early, like in the 7 o'clock hour or something else. So I'll get it posted early. But then we'll take a look at today's and then how it also relates to what we discover on Thursday as well. So I guess that's it. This will go. I'll watch this and see how it goes. And if I don't have to redo it again, then I'll go ahead and post it both on YouTube and on the blog over at imsteppingaside.com. Links are below the video to follow me in various places. Mostly I'm on Twitter. That's where I usually hang out, is on Twitter. So if you want to follow me there, I'll follow back. Anyway, I guess that's it. So have a good week. We'll talk again Thursday, and be good to yourself. Be good to one another, and blessed be.